Today, we're talking about gravity drips, how to calculate them, and how to accurately verify they're running at the correct rate. The first part of this video will review the math on how to calculate the correct drip rate for the desired mLs per hour. The second part of this video will be to demonstrate how to set the desired drip rate with an actual infusion. We will run through a typical titration schedule of 30 mLs per hour, 60 mLs per hour, 100 mLs per hour, and finally 150 mLs per hour. Today, we'll be using a dial flow device, but this process can also be accomplished with regular IV tubing with a roller clamp. This video is intended for educational purposes only. It is not meant as medical advice. It does not replace any protocols or procedures outlined by your organization. If you have any questions about this process or how to calculate drip rates, speak with your organization's educator or nurse manager. There are many ways to accomplish this procedure and ensure an accurate and safe gravity infusion. This is the way that I learned over the years and what works well for me. But please, always follow your organization's protocols and safety guidelines. Now, let's get into the fun stuff, the math.
The calculation method I utilize is a method called dimensional analysis. It's a fancy word, but it's the easiest way that I have found to calculate drip rates. Once you learn it and get it in your head, you'll be able to do this without writing it down. First, we need to start with what we have, or in other words, the mLs per hour we would like to start the drip at. In this case, we are going to start with the rate of 150 mils per hour as an example. Often, we are going to be starting slower, then titrating up to a max rate. You will have to complete this equation for every ml per hour rate you will be converting to GTTs per minute, or drops per minute. Then we will be converting hours into minutes, because our end goal is to find GTTs per minute, or drips per minute. So we are going to multiply what we have, our starting infusion rate of 150 mils per hour, by 1 hour over 60 minutes, due to there being 60 minutes in 1 hour. To fully set up our equation, we will need to add how many GTTs equals 1 ml. This can be found on the packaging of the dial flow or the IV tubing that you are using. To recap, we will start with what we know, our desired infusion rate of 150 mils per hour. Then we will convert hours to minutes by multiplying 1 hour over 60 minutes. Then we will multiply our GTTs per ml that is listed on the tubing that we will be using. This is a photo that shows the GTTs per ml on the tubing packaging. Every packaging is different, but this is what it typically will look like. They range from 10 to 20 GTTs per ml. It is very important to ensure that you are using the correct GTTs per ml tubing in your equation, otherwise your infusion rate will be incorrect. Now that we have our equation fully set up, we will cross-cancel our units, leaving only GTTs per minute. This is the beauty of this process. If your units don't cross-cancel, leaving the desired units at GTTs per minute, then you know the equation was not set up correctly. Units can only cross-cancel if they are opposite each other on the top and bottom of the equation. Once our units have cross-canceled, we will then multiply straight across on the top and the bottom. So in this case, we will multiply 150 times 1 times 20 on the top, and 1 times 60 times 1 on the bottom. This will give us a result of 3,000 GTTs over 60 minutes. Once we have our equation with 3,000 GTT over 60 minutes, we will need to divide the two. We will divide 3,000 GTTs by 60 minutes. The result of this will be 50 GTTs over 1 minute, or 50 GTTs per minute. To administer a medication at a rate of 150 mLs per hour, we will count 50 GTTs, or 50 drops, in 1 minute, or we can count 25 drops in 30 seconds. Once you have come to your conclusion, and before you administer the medication, be sure to double check your work. Think to yourself, does this result make sense? If you get a result of 500 GTTs per minute for a rate of 150 mLs per hour, then you can logically think to yourself, that's way too high and I need to double check my work. When in doubt, always ask for another RN to verify your work and ensure accuracy. Remember, our highest priority when administering medication via gravity is to ensure patient safety and that we are accurately infusing the patient. Always ask for help and have your work verified by another RN if you are unsure. Now we are going to demonstrate an infusion from start to finish with the corresponding math calculations. This is our first drip rate of 30 mLs per hour. You can see that the math is on the screen here. We will start with what we know, our desired infusion rate of 30 mLs per hour times 1 hour over 60 minutes, then multiply that times our drips per ml rating, which is 20 GTTs per ml. The result is 10 GTTs per minute, or as demonstrated here, 5 GTTs in 30 seconds. Take your time, utilize the dial or slide clamp to achieve the following drip rate. This is our second drip rate of 60 mLs per hour. You can see the math on the screen here. We will start with what we know, our desired infusion rate of 60 mLs per hour times 1 hour over 60 minutes, then multiply that times our drips per ml rating, which is 20 GTTs per ml. The result is 20 GTTs per minute, or as demonstrated here, 10 GTTs in 30 seconds. Take your time, utilize the dial or slide clamp to achieve the following drip rate. This is our third drip rate of 100 mLs per hour. You can see the math on the screen here. We will start with what we know, our desired infusion rate of 100 mLs per hour times 1 hour over 60 minutes, then multiply that times our drips per ml rating, which is the 20 GTTs per ml. The result is 33.3 GTTs per minute, or as demonstrated here, 16.6 GTTs in 30 seconds. I always teach to round down with GTTs, so 16.6 GTTs rounds down to 16 GTTs per minute. Take your time, utilize the dial or slide clamp to achieve the following drip rate. This is our final drip rate of 150 mLs per hour. You can see the math on the screen here. We will start with what we know, our desired infusion rate of 150 mLs per hour times 1 hour over 60 minutes, then multiply that times our drips per ml rating, which is 20 GTTs per ml. The result is 50 GTTs per minute, or as demonstrated here, 25 GTTs in 30 seconds. Take your time, utilize the dial or slide clamp to achieve the following drip rate. This is going to be a bonus section that will give some helpful tips when utilizing a dial-a-flow device. First, you will have your package
and it is important to verify what the GTTs per ml are for the device that you are using. This is to ensure your calculations will be correct for your drip rates. When you open your dial of flow tubing, it will look like this. You will note your drip chamber first, and then you will also notice the dial of flow regulator. The regulator turns and correlates to mLs per hour on the dial. When you get a new dial of flow, it will be in the open section. When a dial is set to open, it is free flowing with no regulation. If you turn it to off, there is no flow of medication and all of the flow stop completely. As you turn the dial towards the open section, the numbers will increase, and that will increase the mLs per hour rate of flow. It is very important to note that with dial of flow tubing, the labeled flow rate on the regulator rarely correlates to the actual flow rate of the medication in the drip chamber. This is especially true with viscous medications such as IVIG. To get the correct flow rate, you will have to turn the dial of flow up much higher than the correlating flow rate on the dial of flow regulator. With extremely viscous medications such as IVIG, you may have to turn the dial of flow regulator close to the open section to get the correct drip rate in the drip chamber. The most important thing with any gravity infusion is to focus on the drip chamber and count the correct drip rate for the corresponding or correlating mLs per hour that is desired for that particular infusion. Remember, patient safety is the #1 priority when doing a gravity infusion. So if you have any questions about how to use a dial of flow device or a particular IV tubing, please reach out to your nurse manager or nurse educator for further assistance. All right guys, so we're coming to a close of this video. Thank you for watching our tutorial on gravity infusions and how to accurately calculate drip rates. We hope you found this information clear and extremely helpful. If you have any questions or want a more detailed explanation, please leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you and help in any way that we can. Don't forget to subscribe for more practical nursing tutorials like this one, as well as other nursing related topics. And remember, your ability to provide precise care makes a big difference in patients' outcomes. Keep practicing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video. As always,